Can you hear me, Robert?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Funny thing. So usually my mic was connected to my docking station and had some kind of static noise that kind of gave me the impression that everything was working. Now I changed it through another hub and there's no static anymore. So I was thinking that it was muted. It just works better.
No, the static's just fixed. That's good.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. So it's like so I'm trying to get the MTTP, but it doesn't update. So I sense it's one of those slightly annoying things that when you log in, it doesn't remember where you were going. So you have to go back and start over.
Sorry, I always forget that that's our job now. The chart.
That's all right. I'm just popping it up so we can see it now. Okay, nice. It's looking healthy, which is good. Is there anything, Robert, from your kind of experiences last week, like, were there any things that you want us to be kind of like reprioritizing and bringing in this week to help with MTTP?
Not that I can think of. We're supposed to do that big post-deploy migration today during my day, so we'll see how that goes. But other than that, I think we're good.
Cool. Awesome. Nice. And kind of to follow on from what Skarbek asked about last week. So there's always the kind of the question around when should we change our MTTP target and what do we want to do faster? So as we went in, like I think for about 6 months or so, we've kind of had a target at 12 hours and saying that like once we've got rollbacks, like, so I suppose we could definitely make MTTP probably half of its time if you all worked a lot longer hours and promoted more builds. There's only so far we can scale that before we burn out or like run out of people and things like that. So focusing on rollbacks gets us way closer to auto deploys, and that's going to be the ultimate big jump that we get. So we should keep pushing towards MTTP, but I think before we, unless we go under 12 hours, which we may, but I wouldn't probably expect us to. But rollbacks should get us closer to that stuff. Awesome. So there's a bunch of announcements in there. I was going to leave those as read only unless anybody specifically wants to cover or ask anything about them. Awesome. Okay. And if you have questions after, of course, we can follow up in Slack and things. So discussion. So one of our big parts of our Q3 OKR is going to be around reducing like the compliance risk of rollbacks, and really big part of that is us having like a kind of documented and visible practice process. So Skarbek's comment, I think, summed it up brilliantly, which is like, are people fine with us just picking some dates and having those, like, I would think like one a week for staging, and just picking some dates that are always on the release issue template. And then if for whatever reason we can't do them on that date, release managers could just move them. So like say we had it set to today, and then we found we had this big post-deployment migration thing coming, release managers could just update the release issue to say, actually, you know, we'll roll back Wednesday instead. Yeah, does that sound reasonable for everyone? Cool. What I was going to suggest as well is that gives us 4 staging rollbacks each month. I would expect we'll easily get through 3, and then maybe around the monthly issue, the monthly release, it gets a little bit more tricky. But based on those 3, we can roll them through time zones, right? So we could have one in APAC, and then like the next week we could do one in Americas, the next week we could do one in EMEA, and then we could have a 4th. So hopefully that would mean that it's not just you like feeling like, every week I click a button and it goes through. You'd probably only do 1 or 2 each month, but we'd get to share this knowledge throughout the team. Awesome. Okay, great stuff. I will put together I'm going to put a page in the release docs with our kind of our practice, rollbacks practice process, which we can then point compliance to, and I'll update the release issue with just some. I'll put one in for maybe Wednesday morning when I'm around, but Ruben, we could go through that together and you could do your first staging rollback and get hands on there, tick this week off.
Yeah, sounds good.
Great stuff. Excellent. Cool. And then number B, as I always say, I feel like these should be numbers, not letters, but number B, I have a request. Alessio, it's super exciting, but could you teach, I was going to ask you a load of questions. I was like, I'll just ask you here, like teach us to read this.
Okay, so I think I share my screen, but I will go through the link that I posted, which is in number I. So where it is, share screen. Hello. Share screen. Okay, so here below is the graphs and the query that Amy was asking me about. Here above is just another one, the old one the first that we implemented, which is just the number of auto-deploy packages that we are tagging. So why I'm looking at both of them together, because they correlate. So I want to show you why certain things are happening and how to read them. So let's start with this one, which is easier. This one is just, okay, from QL here. So basically, starting from here inside, I say here. Okay, so basically we are taking the tagging total packages that we are tagging over on a bucket of 1 day. So what happens within 1 day? We are getting the increase, so just getting the number, how many happened. And this sum, the external sum, is just is from QL thing, because if we restart something, then we get multiple metrics. This one, it just takes, we only care about package types, so sum them, which means just deleting when the application restarts or things like that, they just disappear. So it just for removing noise from this. So, and this is easy to understand. Oh, let me just do, because the other one we don't have data, but here we have. So no, I was going in the opposite direction here. So this is 1 week, right? So usually we are around 5 packages each day. Last week was more of an exception, level of exception. So we were above, but we have 5 auto-deploy schedules. So we just tag 5 packages. Then we have the weekend where it slowly, it gets down slowly, because basically it covers the past 24 hours. So this shows us that when we enter the weekend, we are no longer tagging. And again, the thing we were looking at is Monday. So today we start building up again up until 5. So this is the thing. Let me go back to, and no, this is not just doing the 1 day. So I'm going back to 1 day so that we can see the values, how they align with the deployment started, because we only have numbers since this morning. So this one is the query. There's the same machinery around some increase, because it's just cleaning up stuff. We only want to see the number of packages that we started deploying over a course of 24 hours. This machinery here is just because we had there was a bug in the metric. I mean, not really in the metric. It was a bug in the way we scraped the metric, and so we merged this last week. But basically, the value was using a wrong label, just environment, which is overwritten by Prometheus when it scrapes things. It just set it to the environment where the application is running. So basically, we lost those information, and we renamed it to target env. And this trickery here is just give me something that has a target env, because if I remove it, we just have an extra line here, which is the previous values that had no label. So that's just a detail. So what are we looking here? So the yellow line is production deployment. So okay. So I want to show both things. So we started tagging something this night around a bit before 4 a.m. So this was the first package. The second one was after 6. And then when this thing started counting, we were 8:30 more. No, maybe it's almost 9. Yeah, because this is 2 hours. So what happened here is that at this point in time, when we started gathering metrics, we already have 2 packages in the auto deploy pipeline. So, and this is clear. We can clearly see this because we have 1 and 2 production deployments. Then it starts where it is Canary. Okay, so the next one that got tracked is production Canary, which is likely the package that got promoted here. I mean, we have no values. This is just counting numbers, so we can't see the package. But if we look at how the number increase, so here around 9, do we have number? Yes. So at 9 UTC, at the Canary deployment started, and here, show me this at 11. Yeah, it can be right because we have the baking time plus the deployment time. So it may be that package. We don't know. We don't care because this is just for knowing how many packages we are deploying each day. But it kind of gives us this idea. And then here, where it is 12:21 UTC. This is staging Canary. So this is probably the first thing that got tagged. Is this one? Yeah. So around here, 11:24, we tagged a new auto deploy package. So this went through the building time and waiting for the images and things like that. What we have here is that something got promoted to staging Canary. So the first environment that we have right now and is 12:21. So it's 1 hour after that. So it could be that package. So, and then this basically keeps counting. So, I mean, this is only and then we have again the staging deployment here, which is 12:50. Yeah, do we have QA on CN Canary? Yeah, we're staging Canary right now. So
no,
this
not yet.
So this could be that package. So this is the reason why it's
it was pretty quick, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So quick deployment and quick.
Like in terms of reading this graph, then so I was kind of expecting it to be the opposite way around. And why is production on 2? So what does this graph actually say? If we were explaining this to like Steve, like what does 2 mean? That 2 packages were
means that we started 2 production deployment. This is just counting things that started. May failed. We don't.
So why is production at 2 but staging is at 1? I was expecting that to be the other way around.
Because we started tracking at 9 a.m. That's the artifact of the fact that there was a bug and we restarted it with fixing the bug. So at that point in time, we were here. So progress. Yeah, we already tagged 2 packages at that point, and they were so we tagged 2 packages. They both already went through up until Canary, production canary. So the first thing that started counting was the production deployment.
I see. Okay, great. Okay, yeah.
So
yeah.
if you look at a regular Monday next week, it would be how you think you should be. So you will
okay.
first see the canary ramping up, and then you see, canary.
Perfect.
The right way. So.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, nice. That makes sense. Great. Cool. And give visibility, I think, for everyone, because I know Alessia and I have chatted about this one-to-one, but maybe just for everyone else. But so this is like part one of us being able to determine how many packages are suitable for rollback, which kind of answers the question of like how big a problem is a post-deployment migration.
Yeah. Given that we touched on this topic, I was thinking that other than this, we can also build another metric, which is, I think it's interesting, but give us a different information, which is how many pending post-deployment migration we have. So we had, let me stop this sharing, which is useless at the moment. So if we go with the option of delaying post-deployment migration so that we bucket all of them together, then there will be an important question to be asked as a release manager, which is now a good time to run post-deployment migration? And so what I was thinking, I think I told this to Myra, and last week we were just chatting about this, and I wanted to write an issue about that. So basically is, because we have a script that we know can count pending post-deployment migration, which is in the issue about detecting if a pipeline has post-deployment migration or not, we can do something on a side, which is easier, which is just running this script on each deployment node, counting for the number of pending post-deployment migration and just updating a matrix. So then we have a dashboard when, as a release manager, can take a look and say, yeah, we have pending 5 post-deployment migration or nothing. And so if there's nothing to run, we don't even care about starting the process of running post-deployment migration. And gives also us better information about how many post-deployment migration we have each day or things like that. Because even if we don't delay post-deployment migration, but we still count depending post-deployment migration, we will see spikes in this metrics because we roll out the package at the beginning of the canary deployment, because the database is shared between the two environments, canary and the main stage. So as soon as the package gets into canary, that number bumps up if there are post-deployment migration, because we don't run them, but they are in the code. So the script will give us a number. And this will go down to 0 when we run post-deployment migration in the deployment that we have today. So just looking at those bumps will give us an information about how many packages each day have post-deployment migration. And then if we decide to delay them, then we also have something to look at, to take a look at for making a decision if we want to run post-deployment migration now or tomorrow.
Awesome. Do you know what your next steps are for, I mean, aside from waiting for more feedback, but do you have a general idea, Myra, like assuming 20 additional opinions come in, like how would we move from that to decision? Like, do we need to do a POC or anything?
No, I am not expecting a lot of opinions. I was expecting an opinion from a database maintainer that actually posted something today, and I planned to answer. But with that, I was thinking of just leaving the issue open for this week and take a decision even Thursday or Friday, and I mean grab all the comments that we have, take a decision, and open up some issues and probably an epic to start with these steps.
Do you know how we'll make the decision? Like, how are we going to trade off like some of, like, for example, like Marin's new suggestion that like there is an option D, or how are we going to trade off things?
Yeah, I think we are mostly inclined for option A. I saw Marin's comment about option D, but we cannot remove post-deployment migrations because they are not only used for cleanups, they are also used for scheduling background migrations, which is the most painful point. And we cannot simply move the background migration to regular migrations, because that is basically moving the problem to another stage of a coordinated pipeline. And what we want is to remove that problem out of the coordinated pipeline.
Okay.
I'm going to answer to Marin today, probably.
Okay. Cool.
The
Okay.
biggest reason why we need them is because of on-premise installation. We, as GitLab.com, don't need them at all. We could just use regular migrations, but this is just one half of the business.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And like, just to give context for the other ones, the other people, because I know Myra and I chatted a bit about this, like what we'll need to trade off on is, again, the complexity. So this kind of comes back to, I guess, release managers and how much hands-on stuff. So we should definitely try and factor in like how much release management overhead do we add with each option, and how much extra value does that give us on other things. So we'll have to find some way to factor that in as well. Awesome. Great. Is there anything else people want to talk about on the recording?